There is no finite amount of jobs available in a country. If that was the case, governments, when they keep expanding and growing, they would fucking die. Every government that has grown to a certain size would collapse. I'm saying it. I'm excited for it. But we're moving into...
Back to Hannity. We are live from the Spin Room. We are at the Reagan Library in beautiful Simi Valley, California. And, well, the governor of this great state, Gavin Newsom, is with us. How are you, Governor?
Good to be back with you, Sean.
All right, now that you went on your little media tour with all your liberal sycophants, you come back to reality, and you love doing my show better. You just told me off air. I love doing your show the most.
I mean, it's
They're fucking gross, dude. Like, they love each other so much, and it's, like, pissing me off how much gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom is, like, rizzing up Sean Hannity. They love each other. These guys are all such fucking assholes, man.
unbelievable that you can publicly say something like that. That's amazing. By the way, favored nation status for me, the Reagan Library at a Republican debate. Where else would I want to be?
Wow.
This is it. This is home court.
Okay.
Home court.
So now I'm going to ask you, so honest question. So you see the atmosphere, you feel the electricity, you feel the room.
Oh, I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. Okay, and you...
We just finished a presidential debate, and here you are promoting a presidential candidate against the governor.
Because I know the truth. In your heart, in your mind, you want this. But you have basically gone on a media tour sucking up to Joe Biden, and you know he's a cognitive mess. You know it.
I also know he's got an extraordinary record to run on.
Really?
And I couldn't be more proud. By the way,
how's his record on the border?
Objectively, he was the winner tonight. No doubt.
Objectively?
Yeah, no.
Biden?
That's not spin. These guys identified problems, and Biden actually has not only identified solutions, he's gotten bipartisan deals to begin the process of implementing those.
Look into that camera right there, and you tell the people watching.
Yeah.
Do you think this border is secure? Because they keep telling us it's closed and secure. Do you believe the southern border is secure?
Well,
do you believe with all the fentanyl deaths and opioid deaths, is this border secure?
I believe Ronald Reagan was right in 1986 when he supported comprehensive immigration.
Yeah, well, he also said it was the worst decision he ever made.
Yeah, but I believe that he did the right thing for the right reasons because he recognized it's not just a border issue, that the entire system needs to be reformed. We haven't reformed since 86.
You're not answering my question.
We need to reform the asylum system.
I want to know.
I believe in strong borders.
You just said Joe's successful.
I think Joe Biden has been an unbelievably successful
president. Is this border
president.
secure?
The border, we all agree we have a border challenge. We all agree we need to reform the asylum system. We agree in strong borders.
So he's not successful in securing the border.
I think the Republican Party is complicit in this as well. You cannot do things. I mean, it's just factual.
The border was secure under Donald Trump.
Oh, that's wildly overstated, but I get your fundamental point. Clearly, the challenges are more acute today. And by the way, I don't need to be educated on this. I have the largest land port in the Western Hemisphere here in the state of California.
But
I don't
you're
disagree.
A sanctuary state.
And it's
as always, America's economic troubles are not caused by those who are looking for better opportunity inside of our borders, but instead from corporate consolidation and greed, okay? There's enough here for everybody. There is so much, especially here, for everybody, especially when you consider how large the United States of America is. The idea that it's immigrants that are fucking over the country is so stupid. It is so wrong. We are the wealthiest nation on earth. It is all a matter of how much we can take back from our bosses. That's it. That's it. And it's wild that they try to desperately hit the fucking immigrants are doing all this, immigrants are doing all that. I do feel as though the narrative is not as sticky as it once was. Or maybe I'm wrong. I mean, they pump it nonstop. Like the idea that, immigrants are fucking invading the country or whatever. They do it nonstop on Fox News. I don't think it's that big of a, I don't think it's as pressing an issue, as important an issue as it once was. Like in the way that people are people actually receptive to it? Because the way we try to claim that immigrants are responsible for like American issues is often not through economy anymore. Like they're stealing our jobs or whatever. They're not saying that anymore. Now they're saying immigrants are bringing drugs in. And the reality is they're not bringing drugs in. They're Americans are bringing drugs in from regular points of entry, right? So that part of the story is so fucking fake and so entirely made up, and also like kind of removed from the reality that you have to put the puzzle pieces together on your own, and I don't think a lot of people are imaginative enough to like believe it. So I don't know. Every person I talk to over 50 thinks immigration is like the number one issue. Nah, I don't know. I feel like it was way worse. It was way worse in the lead up to Donald Trump. It was way worse during the Trump administration. I don't know if I mean, let's look at some polling. I might be a little out of touch on this one, I guess, but I feel like in comparison to how important of an issue it was, it's nowhere near the top right now. I think people like it was way worse in the 2010s, and I feel as though it's Americans have like other issues to worry about. Like I think inflation and the economy is a far greater problem for Americans than immigrants coming in. Yeah, gun violence is a big problem for Americans. The economy is a big problem for Americans, and abortion is a big problem for Americans, like civil liberties. So I don't know if immigration cracks the top 3 when it used to be number 1. I think part of the reason why is because like Americans kind of like maybe when it was a much larger issue in the 90s, or it was seen as a much larger issue in the 90s, was because like the jobs that immigrants were taking were seen as like high paying or like at least decent waged jobs. And now it's seen as like menial labor that nobody wants to do. So they're just like, no, it's great that we have a permanent underclass that we just kind of consistently use as like basically slave labor. You know what I mean? I feel like Americans are under the assumption that it's like, yeah, sure, it sucks, but also at the same time, like they're kind of the ones who are picking the avocados and stuff, and I'm not gonna fucking do that. So I think, no, we've always been seen as taking jobs whites don't want. Yeah, but you don't understand. They took our jobs was a very, very solid narrative within the Republican and the Democratic Party, even in like the reactionary circles. They took our jobs was the reason why they hated immigrants, because at the time manufacturing was important. It was a job that you could do. And they were like, oh, they're taking our factory jobs. They're taking our manufacturing jobs. They're taking our distribution facility jobs. They're taking our agriculture jobs. And I feel like nowadays, one, we don't really have a lot of factories. And the ones that we do, the jobs are usually shit. And so most people aren't saying that at all. And I think that that's part of the reason, and the other part of and that's also the other reason as to why Republicans are no longer doing like the immigrants are taking your jobs argument, but instead saying they're doing violent murders and they're doing drugs and they're selling drugs. You know what I mean? Think about it. Republicans used to say immigrants are coming in and they're taking your fucking jobs. They're taking your jobs. They're stealing your jobs from you. That's why you are facing economic problems. Now they don't even say that. They just basically say immigrants are coming in to like rape you and kill you. They're violent, and also they're selling you drugs. Think about that. So I don't know. I feel like the they're taking our jobs narrative is no longer as strong, and when that goes away, for one reason or the other, the way that it's perceived, like the problem and how it's perceived, also becomes less bad, I guess. Hannity literally just said that.
I have the largest land port in the Western Hemisphere here in the state of California.
But you're a sanctuary state.
And it's
you
the fifth
want
largest
illegal
economy in the
immigration.
world. We had 7.8% GDP growth in 2021. And we dominate on innovation and entrepreneurial
And who
spirit.
pays for housing, food, clothing, education, healthcare? Who pays for that?
We had $177.7 billion operating surplus over 2 fiscal years. And I did.
God damn, I said it was 80. It's 177. Fuck me, dude. God, you are such a piece of shit. Why are you sitting in front of Sean Hannity instead of spending every fucking dollar on housing initiatives? I hate. Oh my God. That's so fucking annoying, dude. Over 2 years, yes, post-COVID. That's literally post-COVID gains, by the way. You want to know why? Because a lot of people, like myself, I'm literally one of the people here in the highest tax bracket, just made a lot of money during COVID and paid a lot of fucking taxes during COVID. Because contrary to popular opinion, it's actually more so middle-class people who do not have the capacity to afford living in fucking Los Angeles or living in California any longer that actually had to leave, okay? California is becoming like an area with the Gini coefficient of a fucking a third world country at this point. It's just like the omega wealthy and those who just like are so poor that they just cannot fucking leave the state even. Awful. It's an awful situation. And we're doing absolutely nothing to restructure it and doing nothing to help the people who are fucked. Yeah, you weren't off on the 80 billion number. 80 number was just 1 year. Yeah, the first year was 80 billion, 88 billion technically. Actual third world country? No, the problem is like California has decent social safety nets too in comparison to other places. It's just that there's more people here and there's certain social safety nets that they do not offer at all when they should. Okay? Like, things that we could do, absolutely, okay? Things that we could do, better public education initiatives. We could do that. Restructure the way that we actually fund schools inside of the state. Better housing initiatives like socialized housing, okay? Socialized medicine. This is something that was brought up in the California state legislature, as a matter of fact. So, like, these are all things that we could do. We have a lot of money. And we're deep fucking blue, baby. So what is this shit? That's the worst part about it is that we vote. We vote for more taxes every fucking year, myself included, okay? I vote for more taxes every goddamn year. And then they take the money and they just like put it in a bank account. Where the fuck's the money going? Use the money, stupid. It's for a specific reason. Every ballot initiative that is in the direction of like more social safety nets and higher taxes to fund specific social safety nets always passes and is very popular, but then it never turns into like actual on the ground, like tangible results.
Just did an $18.5 billion tax rebate, the largest in a.
But for the record here, this is good stuff, and I was going to cover this as well. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a landmark legislation that will raise the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 and authorize a first-in-the-nation council that includes workers to set industry-wide standards for pay and working conditions. The new law will benefit roughly 500,000 fast food workers. The creation of a fast food industry labor council is especially historic news. This is a form of sectoral bargaining, a way for workers to build power that is common in Europe but not in the United States. Sectoral bargaining is when workers and unions negotiate with businesses to set pay and working condition standards across an entire industry instead of negotiating individual union contracts store by store or business by business. With sectoral bargaining, workers in largely non-unionized industries like fast food can establish collective say over their pay and work conditions by passing a single law. Without it, the workers could have had to win thousands of union elections to secure contracts. So this is why I always say California is both good and bad. The bad is really bad, but then the good is really good. You know what I mean? It's the type of shit where like Karen Bass sucks in many ways. Not exactly like a big time labor advocate, but she doesn't stand in the way of labor when, like, for example, the teachers are striking, right? So instead of being directly antagonistic, she assumes the position of a neutral party, which unfortunately, in comparison to other places, is better than other areas where they are directly antagonistic, right? But my expectation is not that she stand aside and let bargaining happen. Governor Newsom signed this bill into law last year, but it never took effect. In-N-Out, Chipotle, Starbucks, McDonald's, and KFC Taco Bell immediately spent millions to have the rules suspended by initiating a ballot measure to reverse them. But after pressure from labor, Democrats and the public, corporations fighting workers' rights agreed to a compromise. They said they'd cancel the ballot measure if Democrats pulled a bill making fast food chains liable for workplace violations committed by franchisees. It's a powerful, amazing day, said Tia Orr, executive director of the SEIU in California. This new bill really clears the path for workers to have their victory back. And of course, just like when companies take credit for government regulation and government intervention that forces their hand into like cleaning up toxic pollutants, for example. Okay. That's precisely what the neoliberal corporate Democrats do as well. They get bullied by outside forces, and then they try to stop it every step of the way. And once the bullying, once the bullying gets to a certain point, they're like, "Oh yeah, I did this. Isn't that wonderful?" Would you enter the douching chamber with Gavin Newsom? Yes. Also, yes, unemployment for striking workers, unemployment insurance for striking workers bill, and the Social Housing Act are on Gavin Newsom's desk, ready to be signed.
I get to ask all of you to get closer. The authors of this bill, Tia, come on closer.
We fight! We win! We fight! We win! We fight! We win!
You guys all ready?
Providing temporary housing to the homeless yields stability and productivity. Homelessness is always destabilizing, often traumatizing. Fixing it is cheaper than ignoring it. Yes, it also means jobs. So that's what that means too. It means more social workers. In order to create more social workers, you need more educational initiatives. You need more technical training. You need more training in general. You need more jobs. Okay? You need more jobs on the education side. You need more jobs also on the social worker side. All of a sudden, you're creating. There is already a need. There is already a demand. It's basically a cycle that solves the problems that it specifically claims it will create. And the same principle goes for migrant workers as well, by the way. Okay? There is no finite amount of jobs available in a country. If that was the case, then governments, when they keep expanding and growing, when governments experience population growth, they would fucking die. Okay? Like, every government that has grown to a certain size would collapse under the sheer force of population growth. That is not how that works. The only thing that depresses wages with migrants coming into the country is when there is a two-tier justice system and a two-tier labor structure created for a permanent underclass. That's it. That is also by design. Having a permanent underclass ensures that capital owners make more money. Really fucked up. You should go to Maryland? What? Why? Why are a bunch of people saying you should go to Maryland? What the fuck am I going to do in Maryland, dog? Got him baited. What? They have a cool flag. I like it. I've been to Maryland. Anyway, so yeah, the good and the bad. California.
American history as we expanded universal health care, and we're providing more services, including, by the way, health insurance, which Ron DeSantis apparently wasn't even aware of the question.
You saved that for the debate with Ron. Here's the next thing. So I come into your state.
Yes, sir.
First thing I love to do.
What?
Is bring money to your economy,
I appreciate it.
I go straight to In-N-Out Burger. That is one of the greatest things of your state.
Legit.
Including the weather, including the terrain is phenomenal.
You could keep going, but yes.
It's all phenomenal. However, then I'm passing gas station after gas station and gas station.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right.
Excuse me.
Gouging us. Oil companies are screwing us.
$4 a gallon in every other state.
Yeah.
$7 I saw here. Why is your state nearly twice as much?
As of today, I monitor this very closely. I just did a special session. We became the first state in the country to do price gouging legislation with a new monitor just went into effect. These oil companies are ripping us off. $2.
They're only ripping off California, though?
$2.06.
No, the real reason is because we democratically voted. I know this is a hard concept for this fucking Fred Flintstone cutout to comprehend. But we technically democratically voted to raise taxes on gas prices in the state so that we could, contribute to the $188 billion surplus, some of which would go to, green energy initiatives inside of the state. However, gas being that fucking high, in comparison to the rest of the state, is that reason. But gas prices being that fucking high is a consequence of corporate greed. It's greedflation. Okay? That's why gas is so high. Gas is high in other states as well. Of course, it's laughably low in comparison to like Europe, obviously. But that's the reason why. It's. If you're asking why it's higher in California in comparison to like the Midwest, that's part of the reason.
That's this mystery surcharge that they've been advancing for years and years.
But the average around the country is $4, and I saw anywhere between $6.50 and $7.
$2.06 higher. You're absolutely right.
No, your state is much more than every other state.
Exactly, $2.
Why?
Not correct. Is lost refining capacity in California having its own gas formula? Wait, what?
Between $6.50 and $7.
$2.06 higher. You're absolutely right.
No, your state is much more than every other state.
Exactly, $2.
Why?
Higher because they're screwing us. There's no justification.
It's not regulation, taxation.
Yes, 85 cents. 85 cents, low carbon fuel standard.
How much does California get per gallon for gasoline tax?
Wait, I'm right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's just said that too. Why did this guy say?
When you add the gas tax, you add cap and trade, and you add the low carbon fuel standards, and then periodically add, and I'm being as transparent as I can be, and you add our unique blend, you get a differential around 85 cents. That you can justify.
Oh, Gavin. Just this morning, I saw you beat the shit out of Sean Hannity with facts. And then I just saw you lay a line of bullshit like we've never heard. Who else got a weird feeling when he said, I'm being...
Chatter, are you this guy? This was posted 17 minutes ago, man. Are you him? Are you this guy? Be honest. You have to explain it to
completely transparent. I am being as transparent as I can. Yeah, all those numbers he just gave you are from 2019. Yeah, that's from 2019, dude, not 2023. There's no fucking mystery surcharge.
What? Wait, he's wrong. Wait, what? No, we voted again. What the fuck's he talking about? One of the taxes he mentioned is like literally one that we recently we voted on the last election.
Well, why would you say mystery surcharge? Because you don't know what it fucking is? Because it doesn't fucking exist. That's why you call it a mystery surcharge. There is no surcharge. So he says 85 cents for, the fuel taxes, for cap and trade, and the regulations, and periodically for the unique blend, which is a total crock of shit, and he knows it. That was in 2019, before California had lost 300,000 barrels a day of refining capacity, all their unique blend. That's right. They lost the Marathon refinery in Martinez, and they lost the Phillips 66 refinery. Yes. And when you have your own unique blend, and you can't use anyone else's gas, and then you lose 300,000 barrels a day of refining capacity just for one state, your gas prices go way the fuck up. That's why I made a video last week about how they could just use regular gas to offset the gas they've lost and bring down gas prices, because cars today are 99% cleaner than they were when all these fucking regulations were passed. But instead of saying we've lost 300,000 barrels a day of refining capacity in our state and we refuse to use any other gas, and that leads to supply constraints within our state, which makes gas prices skyrocket, instead of saying any of that, he said the oil companies are charging us a mystery surcharge. And we're passing price gouging legislation. Gavin Newsom, if the oil companies were working together to hand your state a mystery surcharge, that would be price fixing, not price gouging. And price fixing, as you know,
He's not about to say price fixing, as you know, is illegal, especially when it comes to gas, dude. That's crazy. First of all, price fixing is basically legal when it comes to gas. It's OPEC. Like, what the fuck? What is OPEC then? Like, you have no control over OPEC because it's a sovereign nation. It's a bunch of sovereign nations that do it. And if they set the market rate by limiting supply, well, then you do have something you can do, which is get American oil refineries to up their productive capacity, which they won't, as Joseph Robinette Biden tried to do and failed to do, because they very openly stated, no, the fuck you don't have a say on this. Our only interest is not on American citizens, but instead on ensuring that our shareholder value keeps going up. So I don't know why he's saying that, like, price fixing is illegal. I've been looking at NA production chart. There was a big jump right before COVID and a small dip during, having gone up on pace since then. I wonder why.
as you know, is already illegal. Yeah. So you're going to pass some price.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's pretty funny when he says, like, price fixing is illegal when it comes to gas. It's like, that's ridiculous, man. Wait, what is this? What?
This gouging bill, which is completely a waste of our fucking time. Gavin Newsom could have scored a lot of points today with a lot of people, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of people in this country that are going to smell bullshit on that right there. Because when Sean Hannity says, oh, they're just doing it to Californians?
They probably closed refineries during COVID because that's because the demand dropped. They never reopened them because they found that they would make the same money with less production, but just by raising the price. Yes. Who was the chatter who sent this to me? Please, I need to know. Like, because that chatter utilized their $5 a month subscription not only to avoid the top of the hour ad break, but to send me the best thing I've seen so far. Thank you. Which, by the way, at least that chatter will still maintain its privileges by OPEC doesn't explain why one state pays a different amount of gas to another. I did. Hasanabi, ask yourself why CA doesn't use the same gas as the rest of the country, even if the refineries were closed down. Saying that this is saying that the refineries closed down during COVID and then never reopened is not the answer for what do you call it? It's not Gavin Newsom's fault in that situation. You are him, aren't you? Are you him? Be honest. This guy's an expert in oil and gas. Also, we're talking about historically high gas prices for every part of the country. We're talking about historically high gas prices for every nation on the planet. So that's why I think it's like ridiculous. If the oil and gas companies chose to close the refineries here and not reopen it, and that is because it is more profitable for them to continue taking advantage of the scarcity. Again, not him. We weren't talking about high gas prices for the country. The issue was higher gas prices in California than the rest of the U.S. I already told you. The major part of the reason is the taxes. things that Governor Gavin Newsom mentioned. If there are any additional reasons as to why gas is higher, okay, and you consider it because you're saying that this guy is, what this guy's claiming is true, which is California refineries closing and not opening again, that is still the exact same thing happening internally inside of Californian borders that has happened in the United States of America across the board. I've seen this guy's stuff before. He's knowledgeable about the oil and gas industry. It's not a random weirdo. No, I don't think it's a random weirdo.
Newsom wants you to believe that oil companies are only punishing Californians with some mystery surcharge? And people wonder why I can't stand politicians. Like, even if I start to like one, I know they're going to piss me off within the next hour or two. And so, fuck it. Fuck it. You want us to believe that I'm paying $3.29 in Oklahoma and your people are paying $6.50 to $7 just because the oil companies want to fuck you over. Just because they want to fuck you over. And you know he's full of shit because later on in the video, he was talking about quads. Yeah.
Wait, no, I do believe that, yes. Wait, what? Yeah. Yeah, it's about what you can get away with. What do you mean? Gas prices in the country have nothing to do with like how cheap it is to produce it. I mean, that certainly factors into it, but yeah, the major component there, the major consideration there is, can you get away with justifying the price points that you're justifying? And yes, Oklahoma, ain't nobody's gonna fucking pay $6 for gas. Everything has to be much cheaper in general than in California. And one part of that is by not continuing to continuing your refinery output at COVID levels and not increasing it, because you know that in a place like California they can pay for it. I don't know. California will bear a higher price than bumfuck Oklahoma. I mean, yeah. When has California gas prices not been higher than fucking Oklahoma? Pre-fracking even, I would say. Pre-Oklahoma's fracking boon. Who's the TikToker blaming for the high gas prices? He's saying that California's personal blend. He's saying that California's personal blend restrictions is the reason as to why gas prices are much higher here, and they refuse to get gas from other places in the country. And he even is saying that it was fine at a certain point when you needed like regulation, like when you wanted to make cleaner vehicles, right? But in the post cafe restrictions world, where cars are and car manufacturers are already making like are following that regulation at the federal level, that there's no need for a special California blend, and you can just basically purchase gas at a cheaper rate from other states. My argument, I guess, is that outside of the unique blend argument, even if previous refineries in California were if the refineries in California did not shut down during COVID and then not reopen, or rather if they reopened during COVID or post-COVID and kept manufacturing up specifically inside of California and readjusted to pre-COVID levels, then they would most likely have regulated gas prices. When Hasan doesn't know, he stutters a bit. Yeah. I stutter a lot. I have ADHD and English is my second language. Not only incorrect, but very weirdly parasocial.
Yeah, he was talking about energy independence and quads, so he has some knowledge. And if Sean Hannity had spent even 5 minutes preparing for that conversation, he would have known and said, well, what about the 300,000 barrels a day of fuel you lost when the refineries closed under Donald Trump? You see, one thing the Democrats have figured out is there's nothing they can say to move people off Donald Trump. The Trump supporters are going to support Trump no matter what. But they can damn sure piss people off by blaming shit Donald Trump did on big oil. Yes, that works better. That packs a better punch. Yeah. $66 for
analysis. Surging U.S. crude oil exports disrupt European and Asian prices. So the thing I don't understand about this is like is that there is a assumption that like his position is that California's regulations are unnecessary and that companies are good, or rather they're just simply reacting to regulation in the way that you expect them to. And that is, of course, something that I'm fundamentally at odds with. He might be like a very knowledgeable person, but the one aspect of what he's saying and that I disagree with is that he's pro-oil company and I'm not pro-oil company. I'm anti-oil and gas company. I'm anti-company in most circumstances. Does that make sense? So any number of, he comes across as not knowledgeable, but any number of restrictions and regulations that California puts forward being used against California is silly, especially when he also personally mentioned that these refineries were already in action and they're not anymore. I don't agree with that characterization. He's saying that cars have now changed so that California's origin need for a unique blend has largely gone away. Is California the only place that has unique blends? Is the question I have. Like, are no other states actually utilize unique blends? I know every Republican up for a candidacy, but not the Democrats. Does it matter? Only Joe Biden? Yes. Only Joe Brandon. I doubt. Like, why is the gas prices higher in Seattle? Also, why does Seattle and Washington also hit the same yellow area? California uses reformulated gasoline, which requires additional refining. Other states do not use it. My point is, even internally inside of California, we have enough refineries, both operational and non-operational, to be able to stabilize gas prices. Okay. If for some reason the companies that own said refineries are not currently operating those refineries, they're doing basically more of what they're doing at the national level, specifically inside of California. Okay? Because they can get away with it because people will pay for it. Does that make sense? Like that's what it feels like to me, at least. And I might be totally off base on this, but I know that is the case, or was the case, especially, last year around this time. That paired up with additional taxes makes it so that California is represented as bright red on this fucking map. This does not mean that California doesn't have enough refineries. This does not mean that California cannot do additional output. It simply means that on the math equation that oil and gas industry, California oil and gas industry companies take into account, they realize that California can make do with higher gas prices, and they don't care, because more supply would yield lower profits. If the unique blend was always a consistent problem, then California would always consistently have the same issue. And yet it seems like the gas prices are higher in general in California now in comparison to the rest of the country than they were before COVID. Does that make sense? So I do understand why gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom would implement a price gouging initiative to specifically target oil and gas companies operating inside of California to forcibly increase their supply to normalize prices. Didn't you just say when has California gas not been higher than Oklahoma? I did. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. Gas is always higher in California than Oklahoma. However, now it's extra high in comparison to like the normal amount of higher in California than Oklahoma. Does that make sense? It's not going to be, it's always going to be higher because, let's be real, there is no price regulation on this sort of thing. It's more so about how much you can get away with having the people pay for it. Did that guy admit that this was a TikTok? No, I think that's like an actual oil and gas guy. Oil exports out of the U.S. keep going up even as gas prices keep going up. Well, that's partially because we have no control over it, right?
In California have increased by a record 84 cents per gallon in just over 1 week. That's a $2.50.
Dude, I love Twitter. Dude, Elon Musk made the greatest video site of all time.
In California have increased by a record 84 cents per gallon in just over 1 week. That's a $2.50 difference compared to U.S. prices. It just
Now the audio is gone. That's why today I'm calling for a windfall tax. Those profits directly go back to help millions of Californians to make early transition to our winter. Starting next week, millions of Californians will receive up to $1,000 in tax refunds.
35.
Why is the California the only state with gas prices this high? If oil companies were the greedy ones, why is California the only state with above $7 gas prices? That was a year ago, chat. Isn't there that one station in the middle of nowhere charging 12 plus? No, there's one that's like very famous on Fairfax, I think, or La Cienega that everybody always points to. That's even higher than everywhere else. But I mean, it's higher. It is higher on average in California. I mean, this map is accurate for sure. It's above 512 in California in comparison to other states almost consistently. California average is 6, the national average is 4. It's not insane. I mean, California has its own refineries, so, you know, it should be cheaper. We pump a shit ton of gas in the state. You just don't see it because they're hidden underneath buildings and stuff. Anyway, all right. I can't believe we just went on this massive tangent. Holy shit.
higher because they're screwing us. There's no justification.
It's not regulation, taxation?
Yes, 85 cents. 85 cents, low carbon fuel standard.
How much does
85%
California
cap and
get per gallon for gasoline tax?
When you add the gas tax, you add cap and trade, and you add the low carbon fuel standards, and then periodically add, and I'm being as transparent as I can be, and you add our unique blend, you get a differential around 85 cents. That you can justify, not $2.06. That's
Okay,
where the
so you're
oil
admitting
companies
you should
are
be
screwing.
$1 more
And
a gallon.
If you want to trust the oil companies, I can assure you, these guys don't have your back or the American
Let me
public's
tell you
back.
something. When Donald Trump was president, gasoline prices nationwide never averaged $3
Well,
a gallon. Never once averaged
We didn't
more
have
than $3
Saudi
a
pulling
gallon.
back another 1 million barrels. We didn't have OPEC Plus screwing us. We didn't have a war in Ukraine. We didn't have. We weren't going through. No, we weren't also going through this COVID supply chain reality.
It's not even just OPEC Plus, though. Like, dude, the major reason as to why gas prices, which still are comparatively very low in comparison to, like, you know, Canada or European countries, the only reason why fucking gas prices are high in America right now in comparison to under Trump is because we are at the whims of the fucking oil and gas industry, which we give 75% of our subsidies to. Okay? So 75% of our energy subsidies to. That's it. We can't do anything. We can't manipulate them. We can't ask them to, like, get their shit in order. We can't tell them to produce more oil. We can't tell them to stop exporting. Like, we can't do it. There's no control over it because we are at the whims of you know, private enterprise. If you want to solve it, nationalize it, is what I say. I have been a firm believer and a big time advocate of nationalizing our extraction industries across the board, literally all matter of extraction industries, from forests to minerals, resources, and even oil and gas. So I think that is the first step in the positive direction. It'll never happen, but I think we should do it. And then use those profits for a just transition to renewable energy. Why has Congress hasn't done it? What do you mean? You think, dude, even the sheer suggestion of this would cause you to probably get fucking executed. There'd be like a business plot if you were like a legitimate congressperson who said this out loud. It's the most powerful industry in the country, one of the most powerful industries in the country. We do it to other places when they try to do it, you know? Think about that. We invade countries or do coups in countries when they do that, or continue doing that for a very long time. I mean, we just talked about, after 9/11, we literally just talked about Iraq, okay? Iraq had a domestic oil production that was nationalized for a very long time, and for that reason, for the crime of having that, Dick Cheney and many others were routinely trying to do war in Iraq, trying to invade Iraq. 9/11 just simply was their perfect opportunity to do so. Just like the top of the hour was the perfect opportunity to run a 3-minute ad break, and I forgot to run it, so I'm running it now in the middle of the hour.
Can oil companies...
Yeah, we covered this already. Who controls the oil prices by Climate Town? We watched this before.
So there was a lot of competing factors that led to some of this. By the way,
but he also adopted. Wait a minute. He made the country energy independent for the first time in 75 years.
We are more energy dependent today. Look that up. It's a fact. And if you no, it's just factually untrue.
Joe Biden is unilaterally disarmed.
I encourage the people watching. Look this up. 5.94 quads. Google 9.5.
Look at all the restrictions Joe Biden has put on oil and gas companies.
Independent today under Biden. Pence doesn't know that. Your audience doesn't know that. More domestic oil production than any time in history. We're on pace this year. That's a fact. Right. You guys keep making that up.
No, we don't make it up.
You're making it up.
We're energy independent, and now we're not.
We are energy independent.
No, we're not.
Net energy exporters.
We are not.
Sean.
We're energy independent. No, we're not. Well, I guess, fucking owned, Gavin. The fuck you're going to do about it? You know what I mean? They're literally children, dude. Not that it matters. You want to know why we're not energy independent? Okay. Because we're on the whims of the corporate oligopolists. That's it. So technically, no, we're not fucking energy independent because they can do whatever the fuck they want. Okay. And we have no legal recourse. So we've never been energy independent, and we will never be energy independent until we nationalize the oil industry, okay? This is such a stupid fucking argument. Technically, Gavin Newsom is correct if we're thinking about it as though, national oil and gas industry actually has the interests of the American population at heart. But that's not the case. So they're both right in different directions.
This is going to be so much fun when this gets PolitiFact tomorrow.
Anwar.
Gavin is more right, though.
Go there. Look at all the other restrictions.
5.94 quads. That's the margin. It's the highest margin of net energy export in America's history under the Biden administration.
Right. I did have a little fun, and for once you actually got back to me.
By the way, I can't wait for PolitiFact tomorrow. There's going to be some fun.
PolitiFact. Why don't you go to the great?
I want you to show your audience.
The Washington Post fact checker who needs to be fact checked.
4 Pinocchios then coming your way.
You get 4 Pinocchios your way. All right. So I come into your state.
Yes.
I love In-N-Out Burger. Yeah. High price of gasoline, of course, not your fault. Although you admit 85 cents of it is. Here's the other thing. So I have a guy driving me.
Although you hear 85 cents of it is taxes. It's like, what's he supposed to do? Fucking behave like an authoritarian despot? And be like, I know the people democratically voted to raise taxes on oil and gas, or on gas in the state, but fuck that, YOLO. We're just gonna not implement it. Like, what do you mean? Sucks to suck, dude. The voters wanted it. I wanted it. Fuck you.
Loves California, hates your taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is what we see. He points out to me a bridge being built.
Yes, sir.
For the people at home, imagine this. They're building the bridge for mountain lions It cost $100 million, some of it private money, some of it government money.
A lot of private money.
Some of it government money.
Yes.
So you're building bridges for mountain lions and rattlesnakes.
Among other, it's a wildlife crossing.
A wildlife crossing.
We've seen so many accidents. We want to.
Wait, what? Wait, why is that a bad thing? I don't understand. What? Like, yeah. Wow, it's real fucked up, man. I can't believe we're not allowing the delicate ecosystem to be further disrupted by human intervention. It's really fucked up.
Protect people's health and safety, impacting the economy and insurance and traffic in the region because of wildlife crossings. And we want to address a vision for this state as it relates to setting aside 30% of our land to be protected for future generations. Vast majority of that comes from the Wallenberg Foundation.
By the way, this is like, I see, you said both Alberta and BC have wildlife crossings that work extremely well. How the fuck is it an issue? Because we're American, okay? And he's on Fox News. Of course they're going to fucking say that. Because what do I always say, chat? Republicans hate good things and they love bad things, okay? So when you're doing a good thing, that means that's wrong and you should stop doing the good thing. If you're doing a bad thing, then fuck yes, I'm on board. Please do more of the bad thing. I know it sounds so stupid and so silly, but like it literally is how this works, okay? Oh, are you doing like, wildlife preservation initiatives? Well, guess what? You fucking idiot. I'm going to drive over a mountain lion on my way to the fucking worst airport on the planet, Los Angeles. Okay, LAX. I'm going to do that. I'm going to kill a mountain lion with my bare hands. Fuck you, okay? Fuck you for trying to preserve the delicate ecosystem. You fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. I hate you.
Private sector, and it's inspired a generation of kids, and we want to inspire other like-minded wildlife crossings across the country.
So you got this debate with Governor Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
Are you excited about it?
More so tonight. He lied.
Like he just chirped at him for. Oh God, I hate this. I hate this country so much, dude. He just chirped at him for like a wildlife preservation initiative that's like majorly apparently funded by private benefactors anyway. What the fuck is the problem? Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you like this? Why? It's so fucking insane, dude.
About fracking. Nikki Haley laid him out. He lied about fracking. He lied to the American people tonight. He did an executive order.
Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Their argument would be that if the government did the extraction, it would cost more because the government is always bad at doing things and wasteful. How do you combat that? No, that's not true. What? What the fuck? That is the #1 bullshit American copium. That's what they would argue? Yeah, well, they're wrong. I know that they could argue that, but it doesn't matter because it's just demonstrably wrong in every sector, as a matter of fact. In every sector. Oh. The idea that like, oh, the government initiatives are costly and it's fucking bad and like private sector is significantly better is so entirely wrong. Efficiency and elimination of redundancy can exist in the federal government and state government and government initiatives as well. So but that would be the conservative argument. Only competition drives price down. Okay. That's a really funny take because the entire reason, like one of the major reasons, at least right now, that I'm saying you should nationalize it is quite literally because the private sector, due to corporate consolidation and a lack of any restrictions whatsoever, only takes money from the federal government and state governments, okay? Takes subsidies, takes tax breaks, and refuses to increase output or no longer export as much oil so that they can give some of it back to the American citizens. So it doesn't matter how they see it because they're wrong. There is no real competition in this sector at all. And not only is there no real competition, but also on top of that, the saddest part about it is that like they're doing it with our tax dollars. You know what I mean? a lot of this stuff would not be seen as profitable industries if it wasn't for the metric ton of subsidies that they receive, whether it be something like agricultural production or even in the oil and gas industry. That's why it's very, very frustrating when you talk about fucking oil and gas in general. It's like so entirely handheld by the federal government. And if that is going to be the case, then the least we could do is at least see some of those returns, right? Returns in the form of even cheaper gas, for example. But we don't. We don't even get that because the American government does not exist like normal governments are supposed to exist in theory. It exists as a military apparatus, a militant state to extract tax dollars from the American population, only to then feed that money back into corporations in the form of subsidies, offer them tax breaks so they can then depress wages and sell you back the same products that you need to consume that you're creating at a higher price point due to corporate consolidation. And then at the end of that process, at the end of that cycle, they turn around and refuse to pay taxes on any of that shit. All it's doing is extracting dollars from the American citizens and padding up the pockets of the top 10% of wealth in this country that own 90% of the stock market. But especially so in the oil and gas industry. You guys, a whole system, that's why they don't get it. Just see they can't be, because under my current understanding of how the world works, it wouldn't work.
By the way, there's only going to be two of you,
But Sean,
you guys, you don't like him. I know.
No, I just don't like. Well, I don't like people that demonize other people or go after vulnerable.
Yeah, the counter argument is simply gesturing to everything around you and saying, "Wow, it seems like the private sector is working out so well right now because America is a consequence of everything that you experience in the United States of America." All of the issues that you experience is a direct consequence of private sector nonsense.
Communities, but I also don't like liars. Nikki Haley laid him out tonight. He signed a 2019 executive order. I'm a governor. I know what an executive order is. Why would you sign an executive order saying you will not do offshore oil rigs in your backyard, and then blame Biden for not doing more across the country?
I have an exit
hypocrisy is remarkable, and Haley laid him out.
Save that for the debate. Here's my exit question.
What happened tonight?
Under any circumstances at all, yes or no, will you ever accept the Democratic nomination to run for president in 2024? Under any circumstances at all. That's a yes or no?
I'm looking forward. I was just in Chicago with the DNC.
I don't need the long answer. I want the yes or no answer.
To President Biden's inauguration.
Will you accept it under any circumstances?
Of course not. It's a hypothetical.
Yes or no?
No.
No, under any circumstances.
It's ridiculous. Joe Biden's our president.
You called me ridiculous.
Joe Biden is
I'm going to make you pay for my In-N-Out.
He loves him so much. He wants to kiss him, dude. He fucking loves his ass, brother. That's crazy. They're kind of gay for one another, which is almost like humanizing Sean Hannity. I hate that. I kind of hate how gay they got there. I just like, oh God, it's like for a brief moment I saw the humanity in both of them, and I don't like that at all. It's a one-way relationship? Fuck no. Okay, Gavin Newsom is the type of motherfucker who can't stop. He doesn't turn it off. He will literally, you could be like a 98-year-old retiree, okay? You could be like the granddaughter, or I mean the grandfather to like 11 children. And Gavin Newsom, you talk to him, he's going to try to fuck you, okay? He doesn't actually have to fuck you, but he can't turn it off. He will talk to you like he's going to fuck the shit out of you, okay? He's going to break your he's going to bust it down.